The great crystal dome of the Galactic Council chambers stretched high above the assembled delegates. Light from 3 different suns filtered through the transparent walls, casting rainbow patterns across the floor. Representatives from 47 different worlds sat in their designated areas, each section designed for their specific biological needs. Commander Velox of the Altarian Empire stood at the central podium. His blue skin gleamed under the artificial lights as he activated the holographic display system. Today was assessment day, and he had been chosen to present the data on the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel. Honored delegates, Velox began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic systems. We gathered today to evaluate the species known as humans. 6 months ago, they made first contact with our border patrol near their home system. The hologram flickered to life, showing a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. Earth looked peaceful from space, with white clouds swirling over vast oceans and brown-green landmasses. Chancellor Thys, the reptilian leader of the council, shifted in her heated seat. Her scales caught the light as she leaned forward with interest. Tell us about their development timeline, Commander. Velox nodded and gestured to the display. New images appeared showing primitive humans around fires, then farming communities and finally cities with tall buildings. The data shows a typical progression for carbon-based life forms. They required approximately 300,000 years to develop basic agriculture. A few delegates made notes on their personal devices. The Xanthari representative, a being that looked like a walking tree, rustled its leaves in what passed for approval among its kind. From agriculture to their industrial revolution took another 10,000 years, Velox continued. Then only 400 more years to achieve spaceflight. This puts them well within normal development parameters for their type of species. Ambassador Jinho Park sat quietly in the human observation area. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and graying hair at his temples. The translation device in his ear converted the alien languages into Korean, then into English. He listened carefully but kept his expression neutral and somewhat confused, as if struggling to follow the complex discussion. Beside him sat Dr. Mira Kim, a brilliant scientist in her 30s with short black hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. She wore simple clothes that made her look less advanced than she actually was. Her tablet appeared to be taking basic notes, but she was actually recording detailed scans of every piece of alien technology she could see. What is your recommendation regarding monitoring protocols? Asked Delegate Zorf, whose tentacles swayed as he spoke. His species had been spacefaring for over 2 million years. Velox brought up a new chart showing various species development curves. Based on historical data from similar species, I recommend standard observation protocols. Class 3 monitoring should be sufficient. They will likely take several thousand years to develop beyond basic space travel. The hologram now displayed human spacecraft. They looked crude and boxy compared to the sleek alien vessels docked outside the station. The human ships use simple chemical rockets and basic nuclear engines. Their technology appears functional but primitive, Velox explained. Their fastest ships can barely reach 1/10 light speed. They have established 3 small colonies within their local system group, which matches expected expansion patterns. Dr. Kim made a small mark on her tablet. She had counted at least 12 different alien shield technologies just from observing the delegates' personal protection devices. Her mind was already working on ways to improve upon their designs. Chancellor Thys consulted her own datapad. What about their social structure? Are they unified or fragmented? They have approximately 200 separate political entities on their homeworld, Velox replied. However, they have managed to create a unified space exploration program. This suggests they may eventually achieve planetary unity, though it will likely take centuries. What the aliens did not know was that humanity had already achieved much greater unity than their records showed. The space program was indeed unified, and it was far more advanced than what they were showing to their new galactic neighbors. Ambassador Park shifted slightly in his seat, maintaining his role as a somewhat overwhelmed representative of a young species. In reality, he was a former military intelligence officer who spoke 6 Earth languages fluently, and was rapidly learning 3 alien ones. Their military capabilities? Asked General Kresh, a heavily armored being whose species valued strength above all else. Minimal threat level, Velox answered confidently. They still use projectile weapons and chemical explosives. No energy weapons, no particle shields, no quantum communications. Standard defensive measures would easily contain any aggressive actions, though their psychological profiles suggest they prefer cooperation over conflict. Dr. Kim almost smiled at that assessment. Human military technology was indeed behind alien standards, but human adaptability and strategic thinking were qualities that apparently did not show up in alien databases. The presentation continued with more charts and graphs. Velox showed images of human cities, transportation systems, and manufacturing facilities. Everything looked appropriately primitive to alien eyes that had seen civilizations rise and fall over millions of years. Their learning curve appears normal, Velox concluded. They show curiosity about our technology, but their questions are basic and their understanding limited. Trade negotiations proceed slowly, as expected from a species at their development level. What Velox did not mention was that the humans had asked very specific questions about certain technologies. Dr. Kim had requested detailed explanations of shield harmonics and energy distribution patterns. Ambassador Park had inquired about communication protocols and navigation systems. To the aliens, these seemed like natural curiosity from primitives. In reality, they were carefully targeted intelligence gathering. Based on all available data, Velox said, bringing his presentation to a close, I recommend classifying humans as low priority, standard development track. They pose no immediate concerns and will likely follow predictable expansion patterns over the next several thousand years. Chancellor Thess looked around the chamber. Are there any objections to this classification? The delegates remained silent. A few were already reviewing files on more pressing concerns. The Drakmori Empire had been making unusual fleet movements near the Outer Rim. Several border worlds had reported strange energy signatures. These issues seemed far more important than monitoring another slow-developing species. The motion passes, Chancellor Theiss announced. Humans will be classified as low priority. Monitoring frequency will be reduced to quarterly reports unless significant changes occur. Ambassador Park nodded politely as the session ended. He and Dr. Kim gathered their simple-looking equipment and prepared to return to their modest embassy ship. As they walked through the corridors of the massive space station, Dr. Kim whispered in Korean, "Did you get the shield frequency data?" Park nodded slightly. "And the navigation protocols. How long do you think we have before they realize what we are really capable of?" "At their current monitoring schedule," Dr. Kim replied quietly. "Probably 2 years. Maybe 3 if we are careful." They continued walking, two humans who appeared overwhelmed by the vast technology around them. In reality, they were already planning how to reverse engineer everything they had seen and improve upon it. Behind them, the Galactic Council moved on to discuss the Drakmori situation, completely unaware that they had just made the biggest intelligence miscalculation in their long history. 18 months had passed since the Galactic Council meeting. On the Altarian observation station near human space, Lieutenant Vex reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The young officer's blue skin was paler than his commander's, marking his junior status among his people. "Commander Velox," he called across the monitoring room, "the quarterly human report is ready." Velox approached the central display without much interest. Humans had proven to be exactly as boring as he had predicted. "Show me what our slow friends have accomplished." The hologram displayed a map of human space. 3 bright dots marked their known colonies: New Sol, Hope Station, and Terra Nova. Trade routes connected them in simple patterns that any first-year academy student could predict. "Colony populations are growing steadily," Lieutenant Vex reported. New Sol now has 40,000 residents, mostly focused on mining operations. Hope Station serves as their main trading hub with 12,000 people. Terra Nova appears to be their agricultural center with 35,000 colonists. Velox nodded with satisfaction. Perfectly normal expansion. "How are the trade negotiations progressing?" "Slowly, as expected," Vex replied. "Their representative, someone called Kenji Nakamura, asks many questions about our basic technologies. He seems particularly interested in our power, generation systems and communication devices. What the Altarians did not know was that Kenji was actually a highly skilled engineer with degrees in physics and xenobiology. His grandfather had been Japanese and his grandmother Korean, giving him a unique perspective on cultural adaptation. His seemingly simple questions were actually sophisticated intelligence probes designed to understand alien technology at its deepest levels. "The humans continue to use their primitive ships," Vex continued. "Chemical rockets for short distances, basic fusion drives for longer trips. Their fastest vessel can reach about 15% of light speed, which matches our projections. Commander Velox was pleased. After 40 years of military service, he had learned to recognize dangerous species early. Humans showed none of the warning signs. They were curious but not aggressive, expanding but not rapidly, advanced enough for basic trade but not sophisticated enough to pose any threat. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility on the dark side of Earth's moon, Dr. Mira Kim stood before a massive holographic display that would have amazed any alien observer. The chamber was filled with human engineers and scientists working at stations that incorporated technology far beyond what the Galactic Council believed humans possessed. Status report on Project Swift Arrow, Dr. Kim announced to her team. Yuna Choi, a young engineering prodigy with bright eyes and oil-stained fingers, stepped forward. At 28, she had already revolutionized 3 different fields of study. The new propulsion system is ready for testing. We have improved the alien fusion drive design by 400% efficiency. Dr. Kim smiled. Excellent. And the shield generators? Even better news, Yuna replied with excitement. We have not just copied the Altarian shield technology. We have made it adaptive. Our shields can now adjust their frequency in real time to counter different types of weapons. Captain Daeho Lee entered the briefing room. He was a veteran space pilot whose calm demeanor hid a brilliant tactical mind. His ship, the New Soul, was currently docked at the official human colony of the same name. What the aliens did not know was that it was just one of dozens of advanced vessels in the secret human fleet. Captain Lee, Dr. Kim greeted him. How did the latest field test go? The stealth systems work perfectly, Daeho reported. We completed a full survey of the Kepler system without being detected by Altarian sensors. The new colonies there are developing ahead of schedule. The truth was that humans had not established 3 colonies, but 37. Each new settlement was carefully hidden using reverse-engineered alien stealth technology. The official colonies served as decoys, showing the aliens exactly what they expected to see while the real expansion happened invisibly. Back on the Altarian station, Lieutenant Vex was updating his files when an anomaly caught his attention. Commander, I am seeing some unusual energy readings from the human trade ship that visited last week. Velox glanced at the data without concern. Probably just their primitive engines overheating again. These young species always have technical problems with their early spacecraft. What they had actually detected were the energy signatures of advanced manufacturing systems. The human trade ship had been producing components for their hidden fleet while conducting official business. The aliens, expecting primitive technology, misinterpreted the readings as equipment failures. On Terra Nova, the agricultural colony that served as humanity's public face, Administrator So-Young Han walked through fields of grain that grew in perfect rows. To any alien observer, it looked like basic farming using simple tools and methods. Hidden beneath the soil, however, were networks of sensors and communication systems that would have impressed even the most advanced galactic civilizations. Terra Nova was not just a farm world. It was a massive intelligence-gathering station disguised as a peaceful agricultural settlement. So-Young checked her hidden communicator. Messages flowed in from across human space, both official and secret. The real human empire was coordinating its activities through quantum communication networks that the aliens did not even know existed. Report from New Sol, the message read. Altarian trade representative completely convinced of our primitive status. Provided detailed specifications for their cargo handling systems in exchange for basic metals. Another message followed. Hope Station Intelligence Unit has successfully mapped Altarian military communication protocols. They still believe we are using radio waves for long-distance communication. So-Young smiled as she walked between the grain rows. The aliens had made a fundamental error in their assessment. They had assumed that human development would continue at the same slow pace they had observed throughout human history. They failed to understand that human civilization had reached a critical point where progress became exponential rather than linear. In the Altarian Command Center, Commander Velox was preparing his final report to the Galactic Council. Human development continues along predicted lines, he dictated to his computer. No changes to monitoring protocols recommended. Species remains classified as low priority, standard development track. He paused to review images from the human colonies. Everything looked appropriately primitive and slow-moving. The humans appeared to be struggling with basic problems of space colonization, just as thousands of species had done before them. Recommend reducing monitoring frequency to semi-annual reports, Velox concluded. Resources would be better allocated to emerging threats such as the Drakmori fleet. Movements in Sector 7. What, Commander? Velox did not realize was that human spies had already infiltrated Drakmori space and were gathering intelligence on their military capabilities. While the Galactic Council worried about traditional threats, humanity was quietly becoming the most informed species in the galaxy. As his report uploaded to the Council database, Velox felt satisfied with another routine assignment completed. In his 40 years of service, he had never encountered a species that developed faster than their initial assessments predicted. Humanity was about to prove him catastrophically wrong. 2 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council. In a secret underground facility beneath the mountains of Korea, Dr. Mira Kim stood before the assembled leaders of Earth's real space program. The room was filled with the most brilliant minds from every nation, united in a project that would have seemed impossible just months before. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Kim began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to reveal. In 24 months, we have achieved what most species take centuries to accomplish. The massive display behind her came to life, showing charts and graphs that would have shocked any alien observer. Admiral So Young-han, now commanding the secret human fleet, leaned forward in her chair. Her uniform bore no insignia that aliens would recognize, but her authority was absolute among the humans present. Show us the numbers. Doctor, Admiral Han requested. Dr. Kim activated the first set of data. Our faster-than-light drive efficiency has improved by 400% over alien designs. What the Altarians consider their best military drives we now use for civilian transport ships. Gasps echoed around the room. General Hana Song, Earth's top military strategist, made notes on her tablet. Her mind was already working on the tactical implications of such technological leaps. How is this possible? Asked Director Taemin Wu, the man responsible for coordinating communication between all human colonies, both official and hidden. His language skills had proven invaluable in decoding alien technical manuals. We discovered something the aliens never considered, Dr. Kim explained. Their species developed technology over millions of years. Each generation builds slowly upon the last. But humans are different. We share knowledge instantly across our entire species. When one human learns something, all humans can learn it. The display showed human communication networks spanning dozens of star systems, quantum entanglement communicators, reverse engineered from alien technology and then improved, connected every human settlement in real time. We have also cracked the fundamental principles behind their shield technology, continued Dr. Kim. Not only have we copied their designs, we have created adaptive shields that can change frequency patterns faster than any known weapon can adjust. Captain Daeho Lee, recently returned from a secret mission to map alien trade routes, raised his hand. What about our expansion? Are we still maintaining the deception? Admiral Han smiled. Captain Lee, please tell them what you discovered in the Vega sector. Daeho stood and activated his own display. The aliens believe we have 3 colonies. The truth is we now control 37 star systems. Our hidden colonies have populations totaling over 2 million people. The room fell silent. Even these leaders, who had been coordinating humanity's secret expansion, were amazed by the scale of what they had accomplished. Each hidden colony is equipped with manufacturing facilities that can produce ships, weapons, and technology equal to or better than anything in alien space, Daeho continued. We have been using stealth technology derived from their own observation drones. They literally cannot see us unless we want them to. Dr. Kim brought up a new set of data. Our manufacturing capabilities now exceed those of the Altarian Empire. We can build a starship in 6 days. It takes them 6 months. Engineer Yuna Choi, who had been quietly working at her station, looked up with excitement. Doctor, I have completed the analysis of the Zenthari biotechnology samples we acquired. Their living computers are impressive, but we can build mechanical systems that perform the same functions with greater reliability. Excellent work, Yuna, Dr. Kim replied. What about the Galactic Council's quantum communication networks? Communication specialist Taemin Wu activated his display. We have successfully infiltrated their entire communication grid. Every message sent between Council worlds passes through our hidden relay stations. We know about their military movements before their own commanders receive the orders. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just reverse-engineered alien technology. They had improved upon it and used it to create a surveillance network that covered half the galaxy. Admiral Han stood and addressed the room. The question now is what we do with these capabilities. The Galactic Council still believes we are primitive and slow. Commander Velox reduced their monitoring of us to twice-yearly reports. General Song had been analyzing tactical data throughout the meeting. Admiral, our intelligence networks are reporting unusual activity from the Drakmori Empire. They appear to be massing fleets near the galactic rim. The same Drakmori that the Council has been worried about? Dr. Kim asked. The very same, Song replied. Our deep space sensors detect massive energy signatures moving through their territory. Whatever they are planning, it involves thousands of ships. Taman looked up from his communication station. I am receiving reports from our hidden bases near Drakmori space. They are not just building ships, they are building a completely new type of vessel. Something the galaxy has never seen before. The room grew tense. The Drakmori were known as fierce warriors, but they had been contained by galactic treaties for over 1,000 years. If they were preparing for war, it would threaten every civilization in the galaxy. What do our projections show? Admiral Han asked. Dr. Kim ran the calculations on the main computer. Based on the energy signatures and construction patterns, the Drakmori could launch a full-scale invasion within 6 months. Their technology appears to be significantly advanced beyond current Galactic Council capabilities. And the Council has no idea this is coming, Captain Deho observed. Their intelligence networks are centuries behind ours. By the time they detect the threat, it will be too late. A new thought occurred to General Song. What if this is an opportunity? The galaxy is about to face a crisis that will reveal the weaknesses of the old civilizations. When ancient species fail, younger ones must step forward. Admiral Han nodded slowly. You are suggesting we reveal ourselves? I am suggesting we prepare for the day when we have no choice, Song replied. If the Drakmori invasion succeeds, they will eventually come for human space. If the Council falls, we will be alone against them. Dr. Kim looked around the room at the faces of humanity's leaders. Then we continue the acceleration. Every day we remain hidden is another day to improve our technology and expand our capabilities. How much time do we have? Asked Yuna. The answer came from the communication station, where Taman was receiving real-time intelligence from across the galaxy. Based on current Drakmori construction rates and our analysis of their fleet movements, approximately 4 months until they begin their invasion. Admiral Han made the decision that would determine humanity's future. 4 months to prepare. We continue operating in secret, but we accelerate everything. When the Drakmori strike, the galaxy will discover what humans can really do. The meeting ended with new urgency. As the leaders dispersed to their respective commands, none of them could imagine that humanity was about to make the most dramatic entrance in galactic history. The age of human deception was about to end, and the age of human dominance was about to begin. 3 years after first contact, the galaxy shook with explosions that could be seen across star systems. The Drakmori Empire had launched their invasion, and the ancient civilizations of the Galactic Council were learning what real warfare looked like. On the Council station at Nexus Prime, alarms screamed through every corridor. Chancellor Thys gripped the arms of her command chair as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Her reptilian features showed fear for the first time in her 500-year life. Report from the Altarian border worlds, Commander Velox announced, his blue skin pale with shock. The entire Kepler defense fleet has been destroyed. 17 ships lost with all hands. How many Drakmori vessels were involved? Thys asked. 3, Velox replied, his voice barely above a whisper. 3 ships destroyed 17 of our most advanced warships. The main display showed the tactical situation across the galaxy. Red markers indicated Drakmori attacks, spreading like a plague across what had once been peaceful space. In just 2 weeks, they had conquered 12 star systems and were advancing toward the Council core worlds. General Kresh, the armored warrior whose people prided themselves on military strength, stood at his tactical station. Their weapons technology is beyond anything in our databases. They are using some form of plasma cannon that cuts through our best shields like they are made of paper. Warlord Krex, Supreme Commander of the Drakmori invasion fleet, observed the battle from his flagship deep in space. He was a massive being over 3 meters tall with 4 arms and skin like black metal. Scars covered his body from 1,000 battles, each one a victory that had brought him closer to this moment. Status of the next wave? Krex asked his tactical officer. Ready to launch, Warlord, General Voss replied. Voss was younger than his commander but equally ruthless. His strategic mind had planned the invasion routes that were now devastating the galaxy. The Council fleets are retreating on all fronts. Their defensive formations are exactly what our intelligence predicted. Krex smiled, showing teeth like metal spikes. Ancient species fight ancient wars. They have not evolved their tactics in 1,000,000 years. Each battle follows patterns their ancestors established before these stars were born. What neither the Council nor the Drakmori knew was that every battle was being monitored by human observation systems. Hidden throughout the galaxy, microscopic human sensors recorded every weapon discharge, every shield frequency, every tactical maneuver. In the secret command center beneath Earth's moon, Admiral Soyoung Han watched the galactic war unfold with growing concern. Her staff worked frantically to analyze the incoming data from their spy networks. The Drakmori are using weapons based on controlled nuclear fusion, reported Dr. Mira Kim, her eyes focused on streams of technical data. But they have solved the containment problem that has limited such weapons for millions of years. Captain Daeho Lee studied the tactical displays. Their ships move in formations that maximize overlapping fire while minimizing exposure to return attacks. It is brilliant strategy, but it has weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Admiral Han asked. They expect their enemies to fight the same way for millions of years, Daeho explained. Watch how they position their ships. They leave gaps that would not matter against traditional alien tactics, but could be exploited by more flexible approaches. Engineer Yuna Choi had been analyzing Drakmori ship designs from the sensor data. Their vessels are incredibly powerful, but they sacrifice adaptability for raw strength. Once committed to an attack pattern, they cannot easily change course. General Hana Song entered the command center with urgent news. Admiral, we just received a priority message from the Galactic Council. They are requesting military assistance from all member species, including humanity. The room fell silent. For 3 years, humanity had maintained the fiction that they were a primitive species with limited capabilities. Now the galaxy was calling for their help. What does Ambassador Park recommend? Admiral Han asked. He suggests we respond as the aliens expect us to, Song replied. Send our official fleet of basic ships and make it look like we are trying our best with limited resources. Dr. Kim looked up from her analysis station. Admiral, I have been studying the Drakmori advance patterns. At their current rate of conquest, they will reach human space within 8 months. Both our official colonies and our hidden ones? Han asked. Everything, Kim confirmed. If the Council falls, we will be facing the Drakmori alone. And despite our technological advantages, they have thousands of ships and billions of warriors. Communications specialist Taemin Wu received an urgent transmission. Admiral, I'm getting reports from our deep space monitoring stations. The Drakmori are not just conquering worlds, they are completely destroying any civilization that resists them. The displays showed images that shocked even the battle-hardened humans. Entire planets had been turned into lifeless rocks. Civilizations that had existed for millions of years were being erased from the galaxy in a matter of days. They are not just conquering, Admiral Han realized. They are conducting genocide on a galactic scale. Warlord Krex stood before a massive hologram of the galaxy in his command ship. Red zones marked his conquests, while blue areas showed remaining Council territory. The blue was shrinking rapidly. How long until we reach the core worlds? He asked General Voss. 6 weeks at current pace, Voss replied. The Council is withdrawing their remaining fleets to defend Nexus Prime. They are abandoning the outer colonies. Good, Krex said with satisfaction. When we destroy their capital, the remaining species will surrender without resistance. The galaxy will belong to the Drakmori Empire. Back on Nexus Prime, Chancellor Thys was receiving the worst news of the war. The Zenthari homeworld has fallen, Commander Velox reported, his voice breaking with emotion. 40 billion beings lost. The planet is now uninhabitable. What about evacuation efforts? Thys asked desperately. The Drakmori do not allow evacuations, Velox replied. Any ship attempting to flee is destroyed immediately. The Council chamber had become a war room. filled with desperate military leaders trying to find some way to stop the invasion. Species that had been spacefaring for millions of years were helpless against an enemy that fought with tactics they had never encountered. "We need new strategies," General Kresh announced. "Our traditional formations are useless against their weapons." "New strategies require time we do not have," Thais replied. "And our species do not adapt quickly to change." In the Human Command Center, the leaders of Earth's secret empire were making the decision that would change galactic history. Admiral Han looked around the room at faces filled with determination and fear. "If we reveal ourselves now, we lose the advantage of surprise," she said slowly. "But if we wait until the Council falls, we face the Drakmori alone." Dr. Kim had been running calculations on her computer systems. "Based on our analysis of their technology and tactics, humanity has a 60% chance of defeating the Drakmori in direct combat. But only if we strike before they can adapt to our capabilities." "And if we wait?" General Song asked. "If we wait until they control the entire galaxy, our chances drop to less than 20%, Kim replied grimly. Captain Deho stood up from his tactical station. "Admiral, there is another factor to consider. The longer we wait, the more innocent people die. Entire civilizations are being wiped out, while we debate strategy. The decision that would determine the fate of the galaxy rested with Admiral Soyoung Han." She looked at the tactical displays showing Drakmori forces advancing toward the Council core worlds. In a few weeks, billions more lives would be lost. "Prepare the fleet," she ordered. "All ships, all systems. It is time for the galaxy to learn what humans can really do." As alarm klaxons echoed through human space, the hidden empire began to mobilize. The age of deception was ending, and the age of human warfare was about to begin. The Kepler Nebula had always been considered a peaceful region of space, its colorful gas clouds hiding nothing more dangerous than mining operations and research stations. Today it would become the site of the most shocking military engagement in galactic history. Warlord Krek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator, watching as his massive fleet approached the nebula. 3,000 Drakmori warships moved in perfect formation, their dark hulls gleaming with weapon systems that had already destroyed dozens of worlds. "Final approach to the core worlds begins here," General Voss reported from his tactical station. "Once we clear this nebula, only 6 jumps remain to Nexus Prime." "Any sign of Council resistance?" Krex asked, though he expected none. The aliens had proven utterly incapable of stopping his advance. "Long-range sensors detect no ships larger than civilian transports," Voss replied. "The cowards have abandoned this entire sector." What the Drakmori sensors could not detect were the hundreds of human vessels hiding within the nebula's energy fields. Admiral Soyoung Han stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship, surrounded by technology that would have amazed any alien observer. "All ships report ready," Captain Deho Lee announced from his position at the tactical station. His ship, along with 200 others, waited in perfect silence for the order to begin humanity's first galactic battle. Dr. Mira Kim monitored the sensor displays, analyzing every detail of the approaching Drakmori fleet. "Their formation is exactly what we predicted. Maximum firepower concentration with minimal flexibility for rapid maneuvering. Perfect for what we have planned," Admiral Han replied. She activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Han. Today the galaxy learns that humanity is not the weak species they believed us to be. Execute Plan Swift Strike." The space around the nebula suddenly filled with ships that seemed to appear from nowhere. Sleek human vessels, their hulls gleaming with adaptive armor and advanced shield systems, surrounded the Drakmori fleet in a 3-dimensional formation that no alien military had ever conceived. On the Devastator, alarm systems screamed as sensors registered the impossible. General Voss stared at his displays in shock. "Warlord, we are detecting over 500 unknown vessels. They were not there 30 seconds ago." Krex moved to the sensor station, his forearms working controls with practiced efficiency. "Ship configurations unknown. Energy signatures beyond our database parameters." "How is this possible?" The answer came through the communication system as Admiral Han opened a channel to the Drakmori flagship. "Warlord Krex, this is Admiral Soyoung Han of the human fleet. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now and your crews will be spared." Krex laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Humans? The primitive species that barely achieved spaceflight? Impossible. I understand your confusion, Han replied calmly. Your intelligence was based on what we chose to show you. The reality is quite different. Captain Deho coordinated the first wave of attacks from his command ship. Human vessels moved with fluid precision, their adaptive systems adjusting to Drakmori weapons in real time. Where alien species fought with formations unchanged for millions of years, humans fought with tactics that evolved during combat. The first exchange of fire lit up the nebula with energy discharges. Drakmori plasma cannons, weapons that had cut through council ships like paper, met human adaptive shields that analyzed and countered each attack within microseconds. Impossible, General Voss gasped as he watched his most powerful weapons fail to penetrate human defenses. Their shields are adapting faster than our targeting systems can compensate. Engineer Yuna Choi monitored the battle from her station aboard Admiral Han's flagship. Her adaptive technology was performing beyond even her optimistic projections. Admiral, our shields are learning their weapon patterns and adjusting defenses automatically. We are taking minimal damage. The human fleet moved in ways that defied traditional space combat doctrine. Instead of maintaining rigid formations, they flowed around the Drakmori ships like water, striking from unexpected angles and disappearing before return fire could be targeted. Dr. Kim analyzed the incoming tactical data. The Drakmori are trying to adapt their formations, but their ships are too massive to change direction quickly. We are exploiting every gap in their defenses. On the Devastator, Warlord Krex faced the first military defeat of his career. His sensors showed Drakmori ships being systematically disabled by weapons he had never encountered, fired by ships that moved like living creatures rather than metal constructs. Status report, he demanded. 47 ships disabled, 12 destroyed. General Voss reported in disbelief. We have managed to damage only 6 human vessels, and even those are still fighting effectively. The tactical display showed the battle from the human perspective. Communications specialist Taemin Wu coordinated information flow between all human ships, allowing them to operate as a single coordinated organism rather than individual units. Drakmori formation is collapsing on the port side, he reported. Squadrons 7 and 12 are exploiting the gap. Captain Deho led his squadron through the gap, his ships moving with precision that amazed even his own crews. Target their command ship. If we can disable their leadership, the rest will surrender. The Devastator shuddered as human weapons struck its hull. But these were not the crude projectile weapons the aliens expected from primitives. These were quantum plasma hybrid systems that Dr. Kim's team had developed by combining technologies from a dozen different species. Hull breach on decks 40 through 60. General Voss reported as damage control teams rushed through the ship's corridors. Their weapons are penetrating our armor like it does not exist. Warlord Krex had spent his life believing that military might came from the size of ships and the power of weapons. Watching his massive fleet being defeated by smaller, more agile vessels challenged everything he understood about warfare. Admiral Han opened the communication channel again. Warlord, you have lost over 200 ships while we have lost none. Your invasion ends here. How? Krex asked, his voice filled with confusion rather than anger. Our intelligence showed humans using primitive chemical rockets and basic fusion drives. Your intelligence showed you what we wanted you to see, Han replied. While you spent 1,000 years perfecting the same weapons, we spent 3 years learning from every species in the galaxy and improving upon their designs. The battle was effectively over, though scattered fighting continued as some Drakmori ships attempted to escape. Human vessels pursued them with speeds that should have been impossible, their enhanced engines running on principles that combined alien technology with human innovation. Dr. Kim monitored the final phases of combat from her science station. Admiral, we are receiving surrender signals from over half their remaining fleet. The rest appear to be attempting retreat. Let them go, Admiral Han decided. We want survivors to carry word of this battle back to Drakmori space. General Voss looked at Warlord Krex with shock and confusion. Orders, sir? Krex stared at the tactical display showing his once mighty fleet scattered and broken. Signal retreat. All ships that can still move withdraw to the rally point. As the surviving Drakmori vessels limped away from the nebula, Admiral Han addressed her fleet. All ships, excellent work. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy is about to learn that the age of human isolation is over. Throughout Council space, alien monitoring stations detected the energy signatures of the battle. Within hours, reports were flooding into Nexus Prime about an unknown fleet that had somehow defeated the unstoppable Drakmori invasion. On his retreating flagship, Warlord Krek sent a priority message to the Drakmori High Command: avoid human space at all costs. These beings do not fight like any species we have encountered. They adapt and evolve while you are fighting them. The message that would change the galaxy forever was already spreading through alien communication networks. The humans were not what they appeared to be. The primitives had revealed themselves to be the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever known. The age of human secrecy was over. The age of human dominance had begun. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened 12 hours after the Battle of Kepler Nebula. The great crystal dome that had once hosted routine discussions of trade agreements and territorial disputes now echoed with voices filled with shock and disbelief. Chancellor Thys sat rigid in her command chair, her reptilian features showing emotions that few had ever seen. Around the chamber, representatives from 47 worlds struggled to comprehend what their sensors had recorded. Commander Velox stood at the central podium, but unlike his confident presentation 3 years earlier, his blue skin was pale with exhaustion and confusion. The holographic displays behind him showed tactical data that challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare. Honored delegates, Velox began, his voice lacking its usual authority. What we witnessed in the Kepler Nebula was not just a military engagement. It was the complete revision of our understanding of human capabilities. The first hologram showed the battle from multiple angles. Alien observers watched in silence as human ships moved with grace and precision that defied the laws of physics as they understood them. The fleet that defeated the Drakmori invasion consisted of over 500 vessels, Velox continued. According to our records, humans possess exactly 3 small colonies and approximately 12 operational spacecraft. General Kresh, whose own people prided themselves on military excellence, leaned forward in his armored chair. Commander, are we certain these ships were actually human? DNA analysis of recovered debris confirms it, Velox replied grimly. Energy signatures match human fusion technology, but enhanced far beyond anything in our databases. Ambassador Jinho Park entered the chamber, still maintaining the humble demeanor that had convinced the aliens of humanity's primitive status for 3 years. But now his presence caused a stir among delegates who were beginning to understand they had been deceived. Ambassador Park, Chancellor Thys called out, perhaps you can explain how your primitive species managed to defeat the most powerful military force the galaxy has seen in 1,000,000 years. Park walked to the center of the chamber, no longer the confused representative of a young species, but revealing himself as the intelligence operative he had always been. Chancellor, I believe the confusion comes from your assumptions about human development patterns. Dr. Mira Kim entered behind him, carrying a data tablet that contained information gathered over 3 years of careful observation. Her appearance was still modest, but her eyes held the confidence of someone who had outmaneuvered the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy. Dr. Kim, Velox said with growing understanding, you were never just a curious scientist taking basic notes, were you? No, Commander, Dr. Kim replied with a slight smile. I was the head of humanity's Xenotechnology Research Division. Every piece of alien technology I observed in this chamber was analyzed, reverse-engineered, and improved upon. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations as delegates began to realize the scope of human deception. Chancellor Thys called for silence with a gesture that made the lights dim throughout the dome. Show us the real data, she demanded. Dr. Kim activated her tablet, and the chamber's displays filled with information that stunned even the most advanced civilizations present. In the 42 months since first contact, humanity has achieved technological advancement equivalent to what most species accomplish over thousands of years. The first chart showed human faster-than-light capability. Your records show our ships achieving 15% of light speed. Our current vessels operate at over 500% of light speed, using drives that are 400% more efficient than your best military engines. Delegate Zorf's tentacles writhed with agitation. Impossible. Such development rates would require what? Ambassador Park interrupted. Would require a species that shares knowledge instantly across its entire population? Would require minds that think in decades rather than millennia. General Hana Song entered the chamber, wearing a uniform that no alien had ever seen before. Her bearing was that of a military commander who had just won the most significant battle in galactic history. General Song, Chancellor Thys acknowledged. I assume you coordinated the attack on the Drakmori fleet? I helped plan it, Song replied. But the credit belongs to Admiral Han and the crews who executed it. Perfectly. The tactical displays showed the battle analysis that had taken the Council's best military minds days to complete. Dr. Kim's team had finished the same analysis during the battle itself. Your species fights using formations and tactics that have remained unchanged for millions of years, Song explained. The Drakmori were devastating because they used slightly more advanced versions of the same ancient strategies. And humans fight differently? General Kresh asked. We fight like the universe itself is learning, Song replied. Every engagement teaches us something new. Every weapon we face makes our defenses stronger. Every tactic we encounter becomes part of our strategic knowledge. Commander Velox accessed his personal database, reviewing the intelligence reports he had filed over 3 years. The colonies. You showed us 3 settlements with a total population of less than 100,000. We currently control 127 star systems, Dr. Kim revealed. Our population in space exceeds 50 million. We have manufacturing capabilities that can produce a starship every 6 days. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Species that measured their expansion in geological time periods were trying to comprehend a civilization that had secretly conquered a significant portion of the galaxy in less than 4 years. How did our monitoring systems miss this? Velox asked, though he suspected the answer would be humiliating. Communication specialist Taemin Wu stepped forward. His modest appearance had hidden one of the most brilliant intelligence operations in galactic history. We infiltrated your monitoring networks within the first year. Every report you received about human activities was carefully edited to show you what we wanted you to see. Furthermore, Dr. Kim added, we established quantum relay stations throughout your communication grid. We have been reading your military dispatches, scientific reports, and diplomatic communications for over 2 years. Chancellor Thys felt the weight of the galaxy's greatest intelligence failure settling on her shoulders. You know about the Drakmori military buildup before we did. We knew about it 8 months before your first reports, Park confirmed. We have been monitoring their activities and preparing for this invasion, while you were still debating whether it was a real threat. The holographic displays now showed the true scope of human knowledge. Star charts detailed every major military installation in the galaxy. Technological specifications revealed the capabilities of every alien species. Communication intercepts demonstrated the depth of human intelligence penetration. The question now, Admiral Han's voice came through the communication system from her flagship, is what happens next. Her image appeared in the chamber's central display, no longer the primitive human the aliens had imagined, but a military leader who commanded the most advanced fleet in galactic history. The Drakmori will regroup and attack again, Han continued, but they will avoid human space and they will adapt their tactics based on what they learned from our battle. What do you propose? Chancellor Thys asked. The old ways of fighting are finished, Han replied. Species that refuse to adapt will be destroyed by those that do. The galaxy needs new leadership for a new age. Dr. Kim stepped forward with a final revelation that would reshape galactic civilization. We propose a complete reorganization of the Galactic Council. Species will be classified not by age or size but by their ability to adapt and grow. And humanity leads this new order, General Kresh asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer. Humanity offers partnership to species willing to embrace change, Park replied. Those who prefer the old ways are welcome to them, but they will face the future alone. The chamber fell silent as delegates contemplated the end of an age. For millions of years, the galaxy had been controlled by ancient species who changed slowly and thought in vast timescales. Now they faced a species that had evolved more in 3 years than they had in 3 million. The age of static civilizations was over. The age of rapid adaptation had begun. Chancellor Thys looked around the chamber at representatives who were struggling to understand a new reality. I call for a vote on the human proposal for Galactic Council restructuring. The vote was not even close. 43 species voted in favor, recognizing that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. 4 species abstained, choosing to withdraw from galactic politics entirely. As the session ended, Ambassador Park approached Commander Velox. Commander, there are no hard feelings. Your assessment was perfectly logical based on the information you had. Velox nodded slowly. Your species taught the galaxy an important lesson about assumptions. We will not underestimate the power of rapid adaptation again. The final image transmitted throughout the galaxy showed human ships patrolling former Drakmori territory, their advanced sensors watching for any sign of renewed aggression. The message was clear to every civilization in known space. The humans had arrived and the galaxy would never be the same.